We're the only people there. Okay. Well, I'm sure somebody will come on. Hi. Oh. We're doing cat cam.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the other one.
Yeah. Shadows haven't been in yet. They did poke each other last night in Shadow 1. Here's that other cat again.
Oh.
Well, no one's in there now.
Hmm?
No one's in there now.
Bummer. No one's in this meeting now.
No.
For us. We could talk about it.
Look at the weather.
We shouldn't bother to do a street cleanup, frankly. No one shows up.
No.
Like, you have to get on to something else that was exciting. Where everybody would be excited about something, and then everyone would go out and go clean up and come back. Oh, here's Christine.
Snow possible after 10.
Possible.
Let's see if we get a weather. Or
Hi, Christine.
Yeah,
Hello.
early birds, huh?
I think so. We've been sitting here like, frogs on a log.
That's not what you look like, but that's okay. I can't wait to see frogs on a log. Although, God, today I took the dogs out and walked down the chicken coop, and the red-winged blackbirds are all mobbing my feeders. And the other birds everybody was singing, and it was really quite beautiful out,
It was
In
nice
that
today.
couple
I
hours
actually went out and took a walk today.
Yeah.
Just-
And the birds are singing.
They are.
It's really nice. So spring is in the air,
I think so.
even though tonight we're getting socked with snow, hopefully.
Theoretically. I never hold my breath for that,
I know, but I wouldn't mind some snow.
Mind
No.
either. I totally wouldn't mind.
I know.
Because, all I'm doing is sitting home and watching, it turn into a winter wonderland. That's fine.
I
with me.
know. Have a wood stove going, and yeah, it'd be really nice. Hi, Pam.
Hey, how are you, Christine? Hey,
Good.
Bill. Hi, Stephanie.
Boy, we beat Loretta, huh?
Oh, she's not here?
Not yet.
Us chickens
Just
here.
us. Oh my gosh. I hope everything's okay.
Yeah, me too, because I heard from somebody who she hadn't answered someone's email, which was sort of interesting. I hope she's
Huh.
okay.
It's not actually late.
Yeah.
It's 7 o'clock. It's like meeting start time, and the recording's already started. So I guess Mike started the recording already.
The recording has started. It was just, like I said, it was just Bill and I being recorded. We're like,
Yeah, right.
okay, here we
Looking
are.
like frogs on a log, you said.
Exactly.
Oh,
Hi, Gwen. How are you?
Hi, Gwen.
Hi.
Dump faster.
Oh, there's
There's
Loretta.
Loretta. You're never late, Robes.
Hi, Loretta.
You're late. No, you're never late.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh. All right. All right, is everybody ready for some snow?
Oh, I
It's a real
am. We were just
winter.
saying, we all wouldn't mind a little. I
You're
would like-
acting like it's an unusual event.
It
have
is.
snow in February in
I
Connecticut.
know, it is.
Really? Okay.
No, in Connecticut's how strange, you know?
Usually by February, I'm like, okay, we got to get this over with.
Yeah.
And here it is. It's actually almost March. It is basically March.
Right.
The March neighbor's paper is already out. So, it's already March.
And it looks so pretty when you see the ice on the tree branch.
Oh,
Oh,
the
gorgeous.
ice was gorgeous. And even this little last snow, I had to go down to Hartford and I-84 for the exits, right? The 3 exits was spectacular because there was still probably some ice or water on the trees and it captured all the snow. It was gorgeous.
Right.
Just
And, the animals need this snow cover.
Oh, yeah,
And
the
they-
plants do too.
We need
Yeah.
it. We need it too.
Yeah, really. Hi,
Yep.
Steve. You turned into just your name.
He's here in spirit.
Steve, are you on camera or are you there?
I'm here. I'm dealing with my dog. Sorry.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
no
you
problem.
You don't want us to
Um,
see that, huh?
Okay.
I was just at a meeting where the big dog stole someone's gloves and chewed them.
Oh.
no. Oh, wow.
Mine's just whining.
Oh, okay.
Actually, the next meeting, I'm just reminding myself, I'm gonna make sure we approve the past minutes because there's probably been several minutes that we haven't approved. So, last time I had mentioned to you about maybe, joining this CLCC, which is an organization that works to protect the land and everything. And whether or not we should, join for $150. They do a lot of legislative action. And so I don't know if people checked their website or looked at it or had any more thoughts about it. And if you don't, we can post it for next time or whatever. I just thought it was a really good organization. I know they've done some really good work, particularly on issues of importance to us, like land use and being sensitive to the natural resources and stuff like that.
Yes, let's join and then let's get them to write a letter to the planning and zoning. I'm actually dead serious, but
No, I get it.
Yeah, really.
I don't think we'd have enough time to do that.
well, it's amazing how fast people can make a turnaround sometimes.
But I think
I am always pro somebody who's up on legislation and who will go
Yeah.
advocate.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah,
sounds like a good use of the money.
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
I make a move that we join them.
okay.
I second the motion.
Do we have a quorum?
Yeah, I think Janet's the only person who's not here.
So if we have a quorum, can we have a vote on this?
Okay. Shall we have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
I
Opposed? Okay, so vote passed.
Good.
So next item on the agenda is our trash cleanup day. Now, maybe I was mistaken, but last time I thought we had made a decision to do it on the Sunday following Earth Day.
I think that sounds great.
So,
Oh, and Ian Preston wants to help us again.
Yay!
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, I just got a text from him a couple days ago and I told him we wanted him back.
Oh, excellent. He's our
Yeah.
star.
Yep.
that he really has really helped out and encouraged other people, and he has this large family network, so it looks like a lot of people standing there. Right?
Yeah. But we need the
Excellent.
help. You know, when we all head out to do the cleanup, we
And he
need
has
someone
signs.
there.
He has signs
Yeah.
that he puts up.
Yep, that's true. Oh, and I'm going to be getting in touch with the school and maybe the local churches to see if we can drum up some support with them
Oh,
to
good,
get some more volunteers.
good.
I still have gift cards.
Oh
All
my
right.
gosh. Oh my
If you wanted to
God.
do that.
Well, might as well.
Might as well.
And in all fairness, there are a lot of people who do pick up their rows and just don't come
Yes.
out on that day.
Yeah.
Or say, yeah, you know, I'm doing this on a regular basis. Steve does that. I know, but I think that sometimes there's not people who actually do it, but I think we're hoping this time that we can get a good group of people out on the roads. So then other people who are driving by can see, hey, wait a minute, you know.
Because it is just incredible out there.
Oh
Right.
God. Is it 89?
And
That is-
74. Oh,
Oh God, it's so
and Perry Hill
disgusting.
Road and Crap Road and it's gross.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So gross. I'm just disgusted with people.
Me too, Christine. I agree with you. I just said to my cousin today, I hate people.
Really.
I'm just, ugh. Ugh.
Dirty.
It used to amaze me. I once in a while would drive on Long Island Expressway or something, and it's just like Trash City, right? We're
Ugh.
starting to look a lot like that.
Yeah, like 270 in Washington
Yeah,
and Maryland. Ugh.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
So is it the 23rd, the date? Laura?
Yes, April.
Yeah, it's a
23rd.
Sunday. That's a Sunday.
Okay.
We'll be here.
And we will also put in giving Ian some credit for doing that in the
Yes.
citizens so that he gets something at least
Yeah.
for that, for his
Well-
effort and work.
Yeah, oh, good. Yeah.
Because I think for a business person to take that much interest in our town, I think we need to support that and say,
Yeah.
yeah, this is what all businesses should do, you
Yeah.
know, kind of thing.
Mhm.
Which would make for a nicer, cleaner town, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's kind of another issue. The other thing I know that Christine had brought up and Gwen wanted to talk about the planning and zoning thing, but let me just check in with people. I know before the winter started, we had made a decision to continue on the Zoom meetings through the winter. So I just wanted to get a vote from people in terms of, do you want to stay with the Zoom or do you want to go back in person, or what's the feeling?
Zoom is good.
Zoom is good.
No,
Yeah, it's so
Zoom.
much easier
Oh,
for
man.
us.
It
So
saves
much easier.
gas.
It
Okay,
saves gas,
Yes,
every kind
it
of thing.
does.
Saves elderly people driving on the roads at night.
Is that all of us?
That's
here?
me.
Me
so it
too.
seems like everybody's in favor of staying with the Zoom.
Yes.
Yes,
Sounds
please.
great. We'll meet at
Okay.
Trash Day in person.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so we can move into the IID zone and the zoning, proposed zoning changes, and I think maybe most people were at the hearing, the last hearing.
Well, there were 120 plus, so chances are high we were there.
Mm-hmm.
I'd
I
really
missed the
like
beginning.
to,
Oh, sorry.
go ahead, Steve.
I missed the beginning. I had another meeting, but
That's okay.
I was on until the very end.
Yeah.
And it was a long meeting.
It was
Oh,
long.
yeah.
2.5 hours.
I
And
was
there
the
were-
same with me, Steve. came late too, but we could still get the gist of it.
And there were still at 11:30, there were still 78 people on the phone, on the call.
Wow.
So at the, on top of,
we were falling asleep.
at the top of the minutes, Mike put, or whoever put in, the attendance throughout the meeting, and it started at 120 something. And then at the end, it was still 78 or 9 or something. It was incredible.
Update, there's a petition going around now.
There are petitions being circulated by the, I was just at that meeting. So yeah, there's a committee to keep Ashford rural that's doing a lot of really hard work about this. There will be signs, there will be petitions.
How can we sign the petition?
I'm a public citizen right now, not a member of the commission. I will be at
Okay.
the dump next Saturday with a table and petitions and information.
You know, it's supposed to snow on Friday.
Yeah, but this is Saturday, supposed to be kind of nice.
Okay,
I have to
great.
work
I'll be
Saturday.
there.
But can I come after work and sign?
I'll have petitions.
Okay, great. I was asked to circulate, but I can't do it because I work 6 days a week. Otherwise I would. I only would have Sunday to circulate.
The petition is not on the website?
No, because we want ink.
Oh, okay, all right.
And that's
Yeah.
on the 4th. You're gonna be there then.
Yeah,
This-
is that this next Saturday?
Okay,
And that's separate from the letters that we write.
Yeah, the
Right.
letters are from everybody, so everybody write letters. But can I just ask if we can, as a commission, write a letter? You know, the development people wrote a letter. Why can't we?
Right, they had multiple people speak,
But they also had a letter from their commission.
sure.
Oh,
I'm
you
gonna
mean
be
economic
thinking of the
development?
next
Yes,
meeting.
there was an economic development letter from the Economic Development Commission
Right. I
in
think-
favor.
I think it's important. I was talking to someone today who said that the chair of the PZC is under the impression that 1/3 of the people
Yeah.
who were in attendance were in favor of
Yeah.
the proposal. I would beg to disagree.
Well,
Based on the numbers, but I don't know how he arrives at that number. There's no census taken of the people that attend the meeting, so.
Okay, I
Yeah.
put together, I listened to the recording, which is online, and I went through all the letters and I tabulated everything. All those tabulations are in a letter I wrote. It's in Neighbors, that is already on the Neighbors website and will be in stores in your town tomorrow or the next day. So there's a letter with all those numbers. And in terms of the letters, there were only, I think 6, well, let me pull it up. There were, before the hearing, the commission received 52 public comment letters, 47 in opposition and 6 supporting the proposed changes. At the hearing, 21 individuals spoke in opposition and 8 spoke in support. So he's using just the people who spoke. So, you know, that sort of is 1/3. But in terms of public letters, 47 opposition, 6 supporting. So, you know, he's kind of cherry picking.
I've been told that it's very important to go to the next meeting in March.
Absolutely.
Speak.
We will be
Even-
allowed to talk. We will be allowed to have a voice.
Yes,
Just
but
so.
even if you don't want to write a long speech, just write, even if you want to say a couple words for or against, the numbers will be counted.
They
So
are
it's
counted.
important.
It's recorded. It's public record. As are the letters. There have also, since I wrote this, I guess there now are 90 letters. So up from 52 to 90. So since the hearing, 38 8 more people have written letters. And I believe most of those are in opposition.
Yeah, it is important though, what the PZC chair thinks. And
It is, but we need to show him numbers.
agreed.
Isn't this an issue that we could vote on as a town?
No,
You can't.
no, it's up to
Ooh.
them. It's up to that committee.
It's so serious, though.
It is. And
That's
it's
why
and it's
people need to be.
irreversible.
People
This is
need to do.
irreversible. If we have people that are stupid and they're throwing trash on the ground, people like us can come and pick it up. Once you have this mega place, whether it's being used or it's abandoned later or whatever, it's irreversible.
And if we pollute
Yeah.
the water, it's almost impossible to clean it up again.
Yeah, and they're not thinking about really, once these builders and developers leave, or whoever rents, whatever happens, once they leave, the financial responsibility is going to fall to the town. And there may not be tax money coming in, or not enough. I mean, so much is going to get destroyed. Ugh.
Night skies are gone, the water,
Yep.
air, corridor, wildlife corridor. Yeah, and then Loretta spoke and mentioned Jean Pillow's report.
Mhm.
Shouldn't this be summarized?
The
By us.
report, they have the report.
They have the report. That's in the public letter section.
Right, right. I
Again,
mean, I meant a conservation commission, a letter from all of us and putting that in writing.
Well, that can be done. Who
I
wants
think
to
that-
do it?
I think I can help. I can do a draft, Loretta.
Okay.
I'll
Good.
send you a draft. Maybe I'll circulate
All
to
right.
everybody.
Let me also tell you that several people have called me or emailed me, because I think there's confusion in the town about how planning and zoning actually works.
Right.
And so they're thinking, and I said, no, this is not what conservation does. We don't set planning and zoning.
Right.
And I said, the commission is opposed to all this for a number of reasons, and encouraged people to either call the chair. And I think one man was going to do that after he hung up. He said, I'm going to call the chair, and or write a letter and go to the meeting, the hearing on the 13th. But I was shocked by the people who have emailed me expressing mega concern about all this. And
Oh, yeah. There is
I've been
negative-
on the commission for 17 years. I've never seen this outpouring. There was somewhat of an outpouring when we did the Langhammer thing, when the town wanted to sell it, but not as extensive as this. And people are very, very upset. They're
Yep.
very angry, and they say that. And I couldn't believe the person who was living in the Ashford Motel who got cut off.
Yeah, right. The homeless guy, basically.
And I was like, wow,
Yeah.
this is really sad that this man had something to say, and he waited
Yeah.
in line
Yeah.
for a long
Patiently.
time.
And then he didn't think he was heard.
I know, and
Yeah.
that was very sad that happened,
Was.
because I think
Well,
people needed to hear the impact of all this
Yep.
stuff, because this developer is saying, oh, the town is gonna get, the
It's
lawyer
vacant land.
is saying, oh, all this wonderful things, and that it's not necessarily true that there's going to be lower taxes because we have this big warehouse sitting up there.
No.
Oh, we'll have to pay for it. We'll have to pay our firefighters and probably get more equipment. We'll have to
Yeah.
probably have a police department, and we will definitely have to have more government, somebody who can monitor the damn thing, because nobody on planning and zoning is capable of doing that. We will have to hire somebody to monitor.
Yeah.
So we will have to build
Valerie-
bigger government to do that.
Valerie Oliver brought up a good point. She said, how in the world did this ever pass for an industrial park part of Ashford with the wildlife corridor, the Mountain Laurel Sanctuary there, and then 2 headwaters for this watershed with Maury Pond and with the
And the Fenton River headwinds.
Wait,
That's
right.
why they had restrictions, Gwen, and that's
I see.
why we had restriction on the size, restrictions on the height, and no warehouses and no distribution centers. the people who wrote those present zoning regulations were well aware of the sensitivity of that area and wanted to preserve as much as they could, and also acknowledging that the town needed some business income. And apparently the big deal is that this is what's going now. Warehouses and distribution centers are going up everywhere. And that's one thing that, you know, this developer, now, I think the developer is the owner of the
No,
property.
well, no. So the
No?
guy starting with R, Rocalicus or whatever, owns part of the
No.
land. This Campanelli group has bought the Ashford Motel part of the land. So those two together now own that whole side.
Okay, all
So
right.
they are owners of that land,
Right,
but
that's
they're
what-
both out of state. They're both from Massachusetts.
Mhm.
Neither of them are ever going to live here. So it's
So
an
the-
out-of-state.
Christine, they have about 8 or 9 of these big.
Oh,
huge
yeah,
in
go to the
Massachusetts.
Campanelli site. It's unbelievable what they build. You know, it's like
Uh-huh.
unbelievable.
So I think what you just said, Loretta, is a really important point. You know, presumably the people that originally made this designation knew what they were doing.
Right.
And they, you know, they had a good reason for limiting it.
Right.
And now, you know, it's good to mention those reasons, because have any of those reasons changed? Probably not. I mean, certainly not, you know, the sensitivity of the area, things
Rural
like that.
character.
Yeah, all that. And, you know, that should be said somehow. I think it's a really important point, because what they're asking for is a change to that logic, okay? And, you know, why would we do that? You know, it was done in good faith before. So, you know, people limited it for some reason.
I said that
So-
in my letter. I
Yeah.
said that this was created. There was an important reason for this.
Great. Yeah,
You
it should
guys
be
should
said
know,
more
though.
than once.
You guys should know, though, that even the regulations we have are incredibly non-specific and incredibly open to interpretation. So right now, we could have a 250,000 square foot building there. That's 17 or 18 football fields. That's already humongous. So that's within our regulations now. We can
Right.
have an industrial site with a 250,000 square foot building on that site. That's in our regulations now. So our regulations as they are now are very non-specific and very open and dangerously open. So this company has come in and they want to just throw those out and make it a free-for-all. But even
Well, they
ours
want,
aren't great.
Christine, they want no size.
I know,
That's
I
right.
know. There's no top size for them.
That's exactly the way it is for agricultural projects,
Right, but
And-
this is
and-
the, yeah,
which could be 1,000,000 square feet and is in Rhode Island. in
Right.
2 sites.
well, this
So-
could be too. If this were to go through, there is no upper limit.
Right, and like you said, they would have to farm out the administration of all this. They would have to hire all kinds of people, a town
Yep.
manager probably.
Yep,
you know,
yep,
uh,
yeah. And no, we would
Oh,
increase. the
you're
number-
muted, Steve.
There's so many things that would need to change, people in the assessor's office, how
Yep.
would they, do you think they could manage, taking stock of everything that's there? They need help. And the other big thing I thought, it was kind of sad what I thought our fire chief said. He did not, he was personally insulted. Excuse me, that's not why you're here. You should be here with a report on why or why not the fire department could handle, a building this size, or could they, it was a little sad what was said about that. It would have been more professional for him to address the questions at hand, I think.
Yep. Well, and to me, the really scary part is, so what happens if, it burns or somehow something happens and it's abandoned? What happens then? I mean, I just wrote a letter to the Board of Selectmen and Planning and Zoning asking, why hasn't anything happened with the burned out house across from the fire station
Right.
for 4 years now? It is actually exactly
least
4
4
years now. Can't we do anything about that? I looked through the planning and zoning regulations. There's a definition of abandoned building, but there's nothing in the regulations about what to do with them.
And that's an historic building. That was the old Hungarian schoolhouse.
It's not a building anymore. It's a burned out Hulk.
It is, and you're
And
right.
it's a magnet for kids. It's like incredibly dangerous. And it's been 4 years. And it's right across from the firehouse. How ironic is that?
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing is, I wonder
So
if
if we can't deal with that, how are we going to deal with a mega warehouse?
well,
Well, at a Walktober event, I actually spoke to somebody who was in charge that day. It was a chief, and I think the town is Basra or something, and he's like an hour away, and he is the one who makes the calls, but he couldn't see it burning because he's so far away. So the whole setup seemed wrong. Somebody should be at the firehouse and or patrolling or something. How could it take that long to report a fire for somebody driving by on a main road to report that?
And it's why it's still there. Why is it still there after 4 years?
Well, evidently there are tractor trailers, the big moving things parked on that property full of caustic chemicals.
Oh, I didn't know that. You can see if you can go to Google Maps, there's a kind of drone shot or whatever. You can see there's all kinds of crap all behind it. It's right
And
on
it's
river.
right by the Mount Hope River,
right next to it.
which it can seep into because these things are deteriorating. I asked my neighbor, couldn't we get, I don't know, EPA in to remove this stuff? It's going to seep into the river. And he said, no, it's too small for them. They won't get involved in it.
So it's too small for them. It's clearly too big for us. So we're
Yeah.
stuck with those kinds of things. We've
Yeah.
got a brownfield. We've got
Yeah.
a burned out house on Route 74. There's that trailer truck thing that's all caved in, sitting
Oh,
right
yeah.
on the road.
Yeah.
There are empty storefronts and the two little mall-y kind of things. There is a pile of junk at a house at Pratt Road in 74. I mean, we are generating eyesores to beat the band, and
Ashford.
nothing can be done about it. Nothing. So how on earth can we deal with a mega warehouse?
You're right.
So here's another thing, traffic is,
And piles of white marshmallows on Parker Road.
so traffic is one of the biggest things that people are concerned about, I
Yep.
think. And it's surprising to me, and I don't know if anybody's explored this, but have you ever driven Route 190?
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
And do you know what that road is like?
Yeah.
That road is a dangerous road. Yeah, it's curvy, windy, hilly. It's, I'm not sure that, and presumably this warehouse would serve that area too. Wouldn't it be a shortcut to get to
Absolutely.
northern Connecticut?
And 89 is also windy, curvy.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's very odd that they would choose a site like that. I'm not sure who would find it attractive, but apparently they think so. But in any case, Stafford, Union, they would be affected too.
Yep.
So just because it's in Ashford, most of it's in Ashford, doesn't mean it wouldn't be bad for those towns. I mean, even the Wellington people showed up, so.
Yes. And Mansfield.
Right,
Yeah,
oh, Mansfield too?
Yeah, so
Wait,
Visit-
Christine, let other people
Sorry.
speak, okay?
Right.
Go ahead, Steve. I think.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just saying, I think that's a consideration too, the surrounding roads, all the main state roads out of there are just not suitable for heavy traffic loads, tractor trailers and things. So, those, I mean, Ashford should be thinking about their neighbors too. So,
I agree with that. People shouldn't say it's not on my road. I don't care. This is the north part of Ashford. Well, it affects all of us. I just want to say, Steve, you used to talk about, the agricultural size and your worries about that. And I thought you were being a little bit dramatic, but I take it all back.
oh, thanks. Yeah, yeah, no, because really, I mean, there's one that stopped mid-construction in Rhode Island. It'll probably start up again soon, but it's over 1 million square feet. And, any farm in Ashford could be ripe for that sort of thing now. And the other thing I'm afraid of is that they'll do the same thing that they did with the agriculture. They'll go, we don't really want to be, we just want to have this thing be approved, and then we'll leave the details to the CEO. That's what they've done with the agricultural part, and it's a little sad. The blanket size is really scary, so we should definitely be opposed to
So
that.
I have a question, I guess. Given that there seems to be overwhelming support to deny this petition from the owner of this property among town folk, and given that, at least according to you guys, what you've heard, that the chairman of the planning and zoning feels like there is not an overwhelming movement in that direction, what can we do as a commission to add our voice to perhaps giving data and information to the chair and the commission in a way that would help them see that it's not a third of the town is in favor of having a potential warehouse there, that in fact there are more people who are against it than that are for it. Because I think that if you have data that shows that, it would be very difficult for the planning and zoning to say, well, we made a rational decision, even though all the townsfolk were against it. It's hard to go against the way the river is flowing.
I think the best thing is what Christine was talking about, the petition that's going around, and that.
Well, I
optimal
was confused,
participation in
Christine,
that.
when you said that he thinks that a third of the people are for it. And I'm having given some hours to listening to everybody talk during the meeting. I didn't take notes, but it seemed like the majority of people were against.
Yes.
Oh, right. Well, if you say, Stephanie, if you say a third of the people are for it, that still means what? 2/3 are not.
Or against it, yeah.
It's,
But if he's looking at that is supporting his position.
I don't know what his position is. I don't think he said what his position is.
He's said to several other people in town, so that's all rumor, but it's verified from several different people.
Well,
rumor.
in
And then
this
the,
kind of a hot issue,
Yeah.
I would really
selectmen.
caution against rumor, because people can start rumors on anything, and the people that have had contacted me have been very, very passionate. So there's a lot of rumors flying around, and a lot of people who feel very strongly about not having this. And then there are a few people who are part of economic development who are very much in favor of this. And my understanding is that these developers went to economic development and talked with them and paved the way for them to say, yes, this is what we want. And economic development has been frustrated because they've tried to get various businesses to come into town and haven't been very successful, as witnessed by on 74, all those vacant business offices. And the developer who did that was like, oh yeah, we're going to have this and we're going to have this and we're going to have that. And that has not proven to be the case. So that's that element, that economic development. And it just points out these 9 people who are on planning and zoning are making very important decisions. And when it comes to voting, you know, what do people think about when they hit that voting booth, or do they even think about it for planning and zoning? It's a very important position. So that's what we got. And what somehow we have to convince these 9 people that it's not in our best interest as a town to do this, which may or may not happen. We don't know how they're thinking. They may not care whether it's 2/3, 99.9 or whatever. I don't know how they're going to make their decision.
Now, how about the letters? The number of letters for and against, is this a matter of public record? Do
yes.
Right.
I'm going to send you around the letter I put in Neighbors. It has data. It tells you where to go to get the letters. It shows you the Zoom site, the YouTube site for the recording, and blah, 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 blah. The other thing though, Loretta, is that our selectmen came out in favor
Right.
publicly. So the Board of Selectmen, that chairman came out in favor.
Right.
So we've got 2 of our primary commissions kind of coming out in favor of it.
And our town, our future chair.
Came out in favor?
Right.
Yes,
Oh,
Seriously?
seriously.
you're muted again,
Yeah, I know.
Steve.
He's also on the Economic Development Commission too.
Right.
He used to be on Conservation Commission.
Right.
That's right.
None of these big ideas ever seem to work out the way the developers come in and try and present it. Just listening to them during the meeting, I felt like they were snake oil salesmen, thinking, here's a bunch of bumpkins that live in this town. We can bamboozle them with a promise of money, money, money. Not so many trucks coming. Oh, they won't drive through your town. And as they're talking, I'm like, you're lying about everything. You are glossing over the reality of the impact this is going to have on this town. And it's going to change it dramatically, and not for the better. And the
We'll have
money,
more
money, money
trash.
isn't going to be there.
Yeah.
We'll
the
have more
trash.
trash to pick up. These trucks.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be the bottles of pee that they throw out over on Ruby Road when they get off 84. I've
Right.
never seen anything so disgusting as those bottles of urine on the side of the road. And we're going to have that. We'll have it.
So it's not only 89. I spent 2 afternoons, one from about 12:30 to 1, and the other just today from about I don't know, noon to midday, both of them midday, 30 minutes, counting trucks that came off 74 and turned left directly into Main Street, Ashford on 44, or came from 44 and turned right onto 74. So that's the route. The first time was 18 six-wheel or higher trucks. I didn't count service vehicles. I didn't count oil trucks. I didn't count anything that was kind of servicing the area, just big trucks. 18 and a half hour on one day, 27 today in a half hour. Big giant trucks, 74 to 44 or 44 to 74. That's the route. And that's Ashford. We don't need to worry about 89. 74 is our road too. 44 is our road too. That's the middle of Ashford. So, that's already without this thing.
Has anybody contacted that lovely woman lawyer who was?
Yeah, Olson. Yeah, she doesn't want to, she's not really not in favor of it. She cares about the regulations and the fact that the regulations are so loosey-goosey, and they're some of the loosiest-goosiest in the country, I gather, that they've already opened the door to a lot of this big, giant development, and making those even worse is disastrous. But that's what she cares about. So she's not really anti big development. She's into the regulation issue.
Well, but I think that's a way that people may understand better, who are for all this stuff. It's a way to present things that, yes, if you have open-ended things, these can be the results of it. Be careful what you ask for, kind of thing.
But the developer already presented his hypothetical things that were scary enough. You don't need any scarier. He showed pictures of something that could be done if these zoning things came through. He showed, he's got a website that shows the Uxbridge site with this massive warehouse with retaining walls that are like, 30 feet tall to keep things off the cliff. This is what he does, and he showed it to us. We saw it.
Yeah.
How much more do you need?
There's one on Route 20 in Charlton too.
Right, yeah.
It's Amazon, supposedly going to be an Amazon distribution center. So that's not that far away.
Nope.
It's hard for me to believe, which makes me wonder if they're just trying to get an open-ended development park, and then, and this might be what EDC wants too. They just want open-ended so that anybody will come and develop the site. And, it seems reasonable that there should be the limitations that were put in place before because, of all the concerns, the surrounding area, et cetera, that, have been mentioned already. But, it sounds like they just want an open-ended development license.
If you
put a nuclear power plant there, I mean, if they actually approve this amendment, could be anything.
It'd be a prison, federal prison. Federal prisons, I guess, do that. They sort of wait till something happens and then they become the user. But anyway.
Well,
Could
I
be
think
an
the other
infectious
thing,
lab.
sorry, Christine.
Could be an infectious disease lab, research lab. It could be a chemical warehouse. It could be anything.
I think one of the things that is important, since we all seem to be very much opposed to this, is to also talk with your friends and have them just write a letter or just write a little note to Mike D'Amato, the zoning enforcement officer, saying, I'm opposed to this. You don't have to do anything more than that. Or even go to the meeting and just say that and tell people that this is important, and that hopefully with enough outpouring that the mind will be changed. I mean, that certainly happened with Langhamer, that the town was ready to sell that land, and it wasn't that they had evil intent on it, really. They wanted to sell that land to have more money to buy more development rights for other large areas that they wanted to preserve, which on the face of it is a good idea. But to take 70 plus acres of open space and just say, okay, we're gonna throw this out to the highest bidder, seemed a little ridiculous, because you don't have a lot of prime open space that hasn't been in some way damaged by some sort of development. So that the people did rise up. Gwen remembers this because she was very active in getting people, and people came out to that meeting. It was amazing. I think there was one person who was opposed. Everybody else was very
I don't think people knew it was contiguous with another preserve.
right.
It is educational.
Right. So the town withdrew that application when they saw how many people. And it seems to me that there are a huge amount of people who are expressing dissatisfaction. It's just a matter of getting those people to that second hearing. I mean, the first one was long enough, but I can't
Let's make
believe
it
that the
two.
next one isn't going to be as long. So that's another thing to do, in addition to writing your own letters or speaking, as most of you did. I think it's also important to just, if you have people that you know in town, just to say, do you know this is going on? And do you know it is on the planning and zoning to set up these regulations? And once you set the regulation, you can't go back on it. They're going to grab that and they're going to push even more about, and I think it's sort of like, I don't know, they may or may not have a buyer for this, but if they can say, look, we push them on this over here, we can probably push them a little more. So that would make it a juicier deal, if you will, for one of these big warehouse or distribution centers to say, yeah, this looks like a good deal. So I think, go ahead.
The next thing they'll ask for is tax breaks.
Oh, absolutely. Abatement. And then when they can't
Garden
find a
club.
user, they'll ask that they get more tax abatements because they can't find a user.
The Garden Club wrote a letter and to the whole group and saying that you have to individually write your own letter and oppose this. And I, of course, I did, but we just need to get more committees like that. And Loretta, you were in the Clean Energy Committee?
No,
Oh, okay. Well, you're with the farmers market people. I don't know if they're in town.
no, most
Some-
of the farmers market are not in town right now. Yes, Stephanie.
Yeah, Clean Energy wrote, Tony.
Can't hear you, Stephanie.
Clean Energy wrote, and I don't know if you remember, but Tony Paticcio spoke.
at the-
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And he actually was, I think, on planning and zoning when
Was.
the regulations were initially made.
Right,
He was.
right. And those three people who are very knowledgeable about land use said they would be willing to advise or work with planning and zoning to come up with regulations that were more beneficial to the town. So it is out there. I mean, are they going to take these people up who know what they're talking about? It's available. It's whether or not the planning and zoning members are open to
Listening.
thinking in terms of what's best for our town as a whole. I mean, I was very impressed with Wellington people who took the time to stand in line and wait to talk about, we are concerned about your doing this. It's not the deal that you think it is. I mean, I was impressed with that. These were not Ashford residents who stood in line, I mean, for over an hour. I mean, that's very, very considerate. And these are people who care about this whole area, because we're all affected. It's something happens to one area, it's gonna affect everybody else, which we all know. And it's like, wait a minute, do you understand the impact? It doesn't matter if it's in a corner of Ashford, it's going to affect all of us.
Yeah.
So
I was really proud of the Ashford citizens at the public hearing. I was really
Mhm.
proud of them.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know, don't forget about a place like that would require enormous amounts of power too.
Oh.
And so power infrastructure needs to come to the site. I think it's been mentioned, you know, water too.
Sewer.
I can't imagine that they could just drill wells without having a significant impact. And water use, again, I don't know what a warehouse uses, but it's probably significant, especially if there are lots of employees. So so there's more to it. You know, it's not just more town government, it's also infrastructure. They'll have to cut trees along whatever route they bring power in. You know, it's big. It's bigger than just plopping down a building.
Steve, I hope you'll speak in March.
I'm thinking about it.
Oh, absolutely. You know, you guys probably heard that hearing in person. The hearing, it's also on YouTube, but the letters, so everybody who talked only had 3 minutes. The letters were extensive, incredibly deep, incredibly forceful, a lot of information. Charlie Vidich's letters about the what would need to be taken out. Taken out. It's a mountain. It's a hill, snow hill. Would have to be flattened to put this thing in. The soil, and in Gene Pillow's stuff, the soil and the bedrock that's there can't handle a septic system that they want to put in. Can't, you know, all these things. The site cannot handle what they want to put on it. And all of that is in the letters, which technically the Planning and Zoning Commissioners should have read. But you should read them too. I went through and I tabulated what everybody was interested in, you know. Rural character came first and water came
Mhm.
next,
Mhm.
which should be our primary interest.
Mhm.
Oh, the
About
other,
respecting and honoring the land.
and the rest of the country, the rest of the towns around us. So, you know, that watershed, the Fenton watershed feeds water to 55,000 people, you know, and if we pollute it, 55,000 people are drinking our polluted water. What good citizens are we, you know? And at one point, I forget who it was, or whether it was fire commissioner or whether it was our board of selectmen, said something and said the environmentalists are opposed to it. We need to make it clear it's not just the environment, it's a quality of life for all of us. The air we breathe, the water we drink, the dark skies we won't have, those are quality of life things. They aren't just environmental issues, dirty word, you know? So if we can write a letter that makes it clear that, you know, we're not tree hugging, we're not, I mean, yes, of course we're protecting the environment, but there's so much more than that too. It's the
And we
people.
have to say we're not anti-development.
Yes,
This is
Yeah.
just the wrong development. This massive structure is not the
Right.
development we're going for. But we have to make clear we're not extremists that we're against the Economic Development Committee.
right.
But what you're coming up against, what it all boils down to is greed.
Absolutely.
You've got to fight that. How do you fight that? It's driving our government at this point. We've got to fight against the money they're promising, the blue skies they're promising, which all comes down to money. And there isn't going to be the money, like you're all saying. What has to be developed to support this huge warehouse from a tiny little town that is having problems raising money just to keep up with improvements we need. How the hell are we going to support this thing? And the developers are going to go. Once it's built, they're gone. They don't care. They don't care. They've gotten their money out of it.
Yep.
And that's all they care about.
Yep.
They don't care about us. And that's what I think people need to understand. It boils down to the money, and it's gonna fall on our shoulders.
Yep.
And it's not gonna be blue skies.
Stephanie?
It's true. So I don't
Wait,
understand.
wait,
why
Gwen, you've been speaking a lot. Let Stephanie
Okay.
speak. She had her hand raised.
I was kind of curious, and so I looked up just ways to prepare for an e-commerce center in your town. And this is sort of interesting to me. And it's a different take on it. It's like, well, you're not really anti-development, but this is what you have to do first. There are 14 things, and this is from planning.org. I don't know, it's I guess a governmental thing. But first, before anything happens, you need to conduct traffic impact studies. This is what the town has to do.
Yep.
Generate trip forecasting data. Undertake comprehensive site plan review and approval process. Negotiate traffic mitigation agreements. Create truck and van restriction zones. Prohibit off-site parking of delivery vehicles. Implement a traffic demand management program. Establish rules for where and when to refuel. Require delivery vehicles to be registered in the same municipality as the facility to capture excise taxes. Ensure appropriate signage on delivery vehicles and the facility. Ban on and off-site idling for facility-related vehicles. Require insurance and background checks for the facility's trucks and van drivers. Be informed of truck and van driver protocols like training, discipline, and incident management procedures, for example, like for speeding. And lastly, but not least, monitor the facility post-occupancy and take corrective actions as needed.
Right.
And that's just on traffic.
And
Those
who
are
is
plans just for the
qualified?
traffic. This has nothing to do with all the other things, the water and the energy.
Sewage.
Right.
So I think that there are probably other places that you can look up and say, well, these are the things, yeah, we're for development, but we really have to address these first. And then when those are taken care of, let's go for it.
But
You-
see, they haven't proposed a building. They showed us what they could do if the text amendment were approved, but they haven't proposed a building, and they also haven't told us users that they probably have lined up as potential users, but they aren't sharing that with us. But they've sort of tipped their hand a little bit by distribution center. Okay, that's Amazon. A big warehouse, there probably are multiple users. Research labs and I don't know what that could be, but that's a little terrifying to me. But so they probably have some people in mind, just like they had for their other their 8 or 9 massive building things all over Massachusetts. But what we're having to deal with now is just the text amendment, which would allow these things. But to ask our zoning board to look at all those elements, they should be doing that to make our own zoning regulations, not to have somebody else come in with something for us.
Right.
But-
Yeah. These guys, so what these guys are doing is they want to capture a site. And then when somebody comes to them and says, I want to build this, they go, oh, well, we've got these 3 places, and we can do anything we want at this site.
Yep.
And that's kind of the way they want it written.
Yep.
So they've scared us with distribution center, which in a lot of ways makes no sense. But that doesn't preclude something else that would be just as bad going in there, you know, in terms of traffic or a research center. It doesn't seem likely, but like you said, they're not telling us, you know, and they might have, you know, something else, like a different vendor, not Amazon, but another site where they do move things around, you know, so it's a little scary to have this open-ended thing. And you're right. You can't, they could easily push back and say, well, we didn't say we're
Right.
doing a distribution center.
Right.
So you have to keep it generic and kind of like what Stephanie said too, you know, let's address traffic and things like that and go from there. And why does it need to change? You know, why can't you live within the restrictions that are there now?
And we already dealt with this in 2020. Essentially, this same kind of text amendment was proposed. Planning and zoning turned it down and said, we need to address that zone for ourselves. And then they haven't gotten to it. That was 2020. So that's what they did last time. That's what we want them to do this time. Turn it down and put on their table. Let's address our zoning regulations for that site ourselves. That's what we want.
And our
Okay,
town
one more,
future-
and then we're gonna close this because
Okay.
we can go on all night. Which
All right,
Right.
our town, our future, we talk about traffic safety studies, and we are actually waiting for the outcome of another problem area by the dollar store where there have been a lot of accidents. And then I've seen some of the stats on the certain days and times where that's the highest likelihood of accidents there based on the past. So that's a big issue in our town. And what should we do? Should we have a rotary? Should we have a light? But this is a whole nother area that should be studied first before any of this. It's all part of this, just like Stephanie said, you have to look at all these things. You don't just jump into something this important, this big, massive project that would totally change our town in every way.
Well, I think that would come after, if they get what they want, then they would start submitting all of this or that, and this is what we're gonna do about this and that. Believe me, they know what's going on. I mean, they know how to present things. They're aware of all this stuff. They're not gonna give all this to us now, because what they want is to say to whoever they might have waiting in the wings
We
is,
got this.
well, you know, we got this, don't worry about this, we got this covered, we got that covered, you know, that kind of thing. So I think it behooves all of us to do whatever we can. And clearly we have, everyone is in agreement that we don't want this. And so we'll all save the 13th to be there and to either say our piece or to listen to what other people are saying and doing. And Christine will send something to me and I will send it out to all of you. And if you have any comments, please add to it, and then we'll send it out to planning and zoning. And join the long list of
Yes. And let's make it
letters.
go-
And that's a good thing, that people are involved and they're learning about how our town operates, which is a great thing, I think. I mean, a person said to me, well, why would something so important only be at a planning and zoning meeting? Why isn't it a vote for the whole town voting? Right, because it's a planning and zoning issue, and planning and zoning, is important. The zoning laws matter. So, and if you get, really skilled people, they're going to tell you exactly what they know you want to hear, which is, hey, this is going to save you money. It's going to be great. It's going to enhance your town. So, enhancement is in the eye of the beholder, I guess.
And they have really well-paid lawyers.
Exactly. So, yeah, if anyone, when I send out the thing, if you have any comments, please, add to that so that everybody can have a piece or a say into whatever we send out to planning and zoning. That's about it. I don't have anything else for tonight. If anybody else has any other business, we can look at that or plan to see everybody, I guess, on the 13th.
Were we gonna vote on last month's minutes?
I don't have the minutes here, so
Oh, okay.
like I
I
said at
just
the
looked 'em up.
beginning, I'll try and gather in the last several times that we met and we can approve all the minutes at once.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Thanks for sending
everyone.
that stuff, Loretta.
Pardon?
Thanks for sending the stuff to us. That'll be useful.
Yes.
Okay, good
Yeah.
enough. All right. So have a good rest of the evening. Enjoy the snow. Get out your little sled. Build a
Build a
little
snowman.
snowman
Yeah.
or girl
Snow girl. Snow
or woman
Yes.
or little child. All right, everybody. Good
Good
night.
night.
Thanks.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.